Hello students, welcome to my second session of professional web designing course. So yesterday we had discussed about the process of web designing, the process that is to be followed to design a website. So yesterday we have discussed that. Let me share the screen with you. Now today, let me give you a idea about the web designing course. So this is the web designing course. So duration of the course is 4 months. It starts with Adobe Photoshop for designing web templates, then HTML5, CSS3, use of divs with CSS. We'll learn what is div. So div is actually used to make the HTML structure. Yesterday, I had discussed about the HTML structure. To design the structure, you will require divs, and divs has to be in consonance with CSS. So div and CSS will run together. So that is the div. Then you have HTML integration. As I said yesterday, integration is the process of conversion from Photoshop template to a web page. So that is HTML integration. After that, you have JavaScript to validate your web form. And then you have jQuery, that is JavaScript library. And then you have the Bootstrap framework for responsive designing. So from Adobe Photoshop till Bootstrap. So this constitutes your front-end design. And then you create inner pages and interlink the pages to create the website. So up till here, you have the front-end design part from Photoshop till this. Create inner pages and interlinking the pages to create a website. So from Photoshop till here, so all this basically is a part of the front-end design. Then comes the back-end development. For that, you need a dynamic platform, and that platform is provided by PHP, and MySQL is the database. So PHP and MySQL basic you have to do, because why? As I explained yesterday, after PHP MySQL will be getting into WordPress CMS, and WordPress CMS is a framework that runs on PHP platform. So that is the reason you have to learn the basics of PHP and MySQL and then get into WordPress. And finally, when the website is ready, front end and back end, you host the website on remote web server. So that is the gist of the entire web designing course, front end and back end. And at the end of it, you have to do a complete live project. Now, doing a live project has two benefits. One, when you do a live project, it will encompass everything that you have learned in web designing. And when you do the project, you will include everything that you have learned in web designing, and you will gain the confidence to design a website on your own. That is very, very important, without any help from anybody. So to get that confidence, you need to do the project. And secondly, the project that you do will go live on the server. So what you can do when you go for interview, suppose you can show them that this is the website you have designed and this is the website you have hosted on the server. So you don't have to face too many unpleasant questions from the interviewer, because they will know that this is a thing you know. the live project will show that this is the expertise, level of expertise you have, and accordingly, they will consider you for the job. So the live projects has these two benefits. So you have to do the live project compulsorily at the end of it. So this is the course content. So front end and back end together, the course duration is 4 months. And the front end part will be covered in 3 months and back end part will be covered in 1 month. So that is the breakup. Okay, now let's get into, I hope this is clear to you. Now, let us get into Photoshop. That's the first step of web designing. So you start web designing with the Photoshop. Now, what is the Photoshop? Photoshop is basically a software. Okay, is a software used to edit images. So Photoshop is a software that is used to edit images. So Photoshop is not the software to create something. Suppose you want to design a logo or you want to design a catalog. So Photoshop is not meant for that. Photoshop is basically used to edit images, to edit or modify images. You'll find in most of the photographic studios, the photographer uses Photoshop to modify the photograph that he has shot on his camera. So after shooting on his camera, he'll transfer the images into Photoshop and modify them accordingly. Because when a photograph is shot on camera, it will have certain flaws. No photograph is perfect. Sometimes it may be underexposed photograph, overexposed, less light, more light, color balancing is not proper. So a lot of things, lot of flaws will be there in the photograph. So to rectify those flaws, the photographer uses Photoshop to modify the photograph. So that process is called airbrushing. So process of modification is called airbrushing. So photographer airbrush the images and whatever flaws are there in the image, will clean up the image and then take a printout of the modified image. So that is the process. So Photoshop is an image editing software required to design or modify images. So let's do that. So it's called Adobe Photoshop because it is developed by the company called Adobe. It is a US-based company. So Adobe has basically developed this Photoshop software, and that's the name. So Adobe Photoshop is an image editing software. It required to edit or modify images. Now the question may arise in our mind, then why are we using, web designers use Photoshop? We are not editing any image. So why web designers will use Photoshop? Web business uses Photoshop because Photoshop is the only software that gives the pixel. Now, next thing is the pixel. Now, what is pixel? The pixel is the most important aspect in Photoshop. Everything in Photoshop is based on pixel. And when you design a website, the unit of measurement for designing a website is pixel. So website is not designed in terms of inches, millimeters, centimeter, feet. No. Website is measured in terms of pixels. And Photoshop is the only software that gives the pixel value. So therefore, for this reason, we use pixel. We use Photoshop because Photoshop is the software that gives the pixel value. Correct? Now, what is pixel? Now, let's see a practical example of that. Now, let's open an image. You open any image in Photoshop. So, let's open our Photoshop first. Now, Photoshop is a very expensive software. Don't attempt to purchase the Photoshop. And if you installed a trial version of the Photoshop, you may get trial version on the net. No use of installing trial version because the trial version will run for a month and then it will stop. Then you have to pay for it and run it. So it's a paid software, it's a premium software, and it's quite expensive. So don't try that. So what you can do, you can bring your laptop to the institute once. And if you're doing an online course, just bring your laptop to the institute one day. We'll install this software. You have this software, Photoshop software with us. We'll install this software in your laptop and you can use it free of cost. So not a penny will be charged for that, for installing the software. So software will be installed on your laptop free of cost. So you just have to bring the laptop for a day. Only one day you come to the institute with your laptop and you'll install it. It will take around an hour's time to install the Photoshop software. That's it. And you can use it permanently. Okay. So that's it. Now let's open an image. Now coming to pixel, coming back to pixel, let's open an image. Now this is an image. As you can see, this is an image, very colorful image. Now when you see the normal size, so this is the normal size of the image that you see on the screen. If you zoom on this, now this is the zoom tool. Zoom, Z-O-O-M, zoom. Now in zoom, there are two things. One is zoom in and there is zoom out. So we'll cover that in detail when you come to the tools. Now zoom in and zoom out, just understand that zoom in is when you magnify and zoom out is when you demagnify. So when you magnify the image, when you make the image bigger, that is zoom in, and when you make it smaller, that is zoom out. So when you select the zoom tool, you see here, here is showing two icons. One is plus, one is minus. So this is zoom plus, that is zoom in, and this is zoom out, that is zoom minus. So minus is zoom out and plus is zoom in. Now if I zoom in on the image, now suppose I select plus and I click on the image, it will zoom in like this. So zoom it to the maximum limit. Keep on zooming like this. So when you zoom on this to the maximum limit, what do you see? You see the square boxes. The square boxes. So this one, box, this is another box. So the square boxes. Now each of the square boxes is a pixel. So this is a pixel, this is a pixel, this is a pixel, this is a pixel. All these are pixels. So pixel will appear only when you zoom the image to the maximum limit. Then you can see the pixels clearly. And when you zoom out, again, if I zoom out to the normal size, you'll not be able to see the pixels. As you can see here, the pixels are not visible now. So pixels are there, but it is not visible when you zoom out to the normal size of the image. But when you zoom in, when you magnify, you can see the pixels. So what are pixels? Pixels are tiny color values that join together to form a complete image. So millions of pixels. So millions of pixels, they join together to form this image. So this image is formed of millions of pixels of different color values. You have a certain color value here, certain color value here, certain color value here, different color value here, different color value here. Here there is different color value. Here there is different color value. So millions of pixels, tiny color values. What are pixels? Pixels are tiny color values. So millions of pixels, they join together to form a complete image. So different pixels with different color values, they'll join together and form the image. And therefore, pixel is the most important aspect of Photoshop. The entire Photoshop is based on pixel. And pixel is important to a web designer because, as I said, that in web designing, the unit of measurement is pixel. In web design, when you design a website, you don't measure the width, height, margin, and all in terms of centimeter, millimeter, feet. No. So all these dimensions are measured in terms of pixels. And since Photoshop is the only software that gives the pixel value, therefore, we web designers, we use Photoshop to design our template because the template will give the pixel value, and following the pixel value, later on when the template is designed, we'll convert that template into a web page using the pixel values. So that is the process. So that is the reason why web designers use Photoshop. Now coming to the next one. So I hope you understood what is pixel. Now the next concept, important concept, is resolution. Image resolution. And what is the resolution? Now, when you think about resolution of your mobile camera, mobile handset camera. So this mobile device camera, they have certain resolution, as you know. So some mobile cameras have 10 pixel resolution, 15 pixel resolution, 18 pixel resolution, 20 pixel resolution, different resolutions. So from layman's point of view, what do you understand by resolution? So from layman's point of view, resolution means the clarity of the image. That is what we understand as a layman. Means if the resolution is high, we get better quality image, and if the resolution is less, we get inferior quality of image. But there's the layman's definition of image, of resolution. Now, what is the technical definition? Technical definition of resolution is based on pixels. So resolution is number of pixels per inch. So in 1 inch of space, how many pixels do you have? That is the resolution. Now in 1 inch of space, if you have huge number of pixels, that means your resolution is more, and as a result of that, you get good quality image. And in 1 inch of space, if the number of pixels are less, you get low quality image. Why? Because the number of pixels are less and resolution is low, and you get low quality image. So if the resolution is high, the number of pixel goes up and you get high quality image. And if the resolution is low, there are less number of pixels per inch space, and therefore you get low quality image. So that is the logic of resolution. Clear? Now coming to the resolution, what is the standard resolution? That there should be a standard resolution, right? That can be applied as a standard rule. Now standard resolution is determined by two factors. Means for what purpose you are designing that image. Now if your purpose is to design for the digital media, means suppose you are designing a template, and the template will be using to convert the template into a web page. So therefore it is basically designed for the digital media. And if you design a particular template or a design for digital media, then the standard resolution for digital media is 72 pixels per inch. Digital media, (72 pixels per inch). So if you are designing something for digital media, suppose you are designing a poster or banner, and that poster and banner you will be using only for digital purpose. Means you will be using on posting on Facebook and sharing on posting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and sharing on WhatsApp, Telegram. If your purpose of designing the poster is that, then that is the digital media, and the resolution in that case you should maintain is 72 pixel per inch. That is the standard resolution for digital media. But if you are designing something for print media, means you design something and then you take a printout of that. Suppose I design a poster or banner, and then I take a flexi print of that. Correct? So in that case, the standard resolution should be much higher. So standard resolution for print media is 1080 pixels per inch. So see the difference here. When you are designing something for digital media, just like web template, it will not be used for print. You are designing just for digital media. So in that case, maintain a low resolution, and the standard low resolution for digital media is 72 pixels per inch, quite low resolution. But when you design something for print media, suppose you design a banner, you design a poster, which you'll require to take a print of that. Suppose a photograph, you are modifying some photograph. At the end of it, after modifying the photograph, you want to take a print of that photograph on a photographic paper. So in that case, the standard resolution for the print media should be 1080 pixel per inch. That's the difference. Well, see the 72 and 1080, see the difference. Is more than 12 times almost. Correct. So if you are designing for print media, then if you are designing something for digital media, maintain a low resolution. But if you are designing something for print media, increase the resolution to at least 1080 pixels per inch. Now, how to do that? Let us see now. So when you create a new page in Photoshop, so how do you create a new page? Go to File, New. Means you are creating a new file, new page. So create a new page. So here, when creating the new page, you have to enter the width, height, resolution, color mode, and background color. These 5 things you have to enter. So suppose I set the width, and as you can see, everything is measured in terms of pixels. So there are other units. So don't take these units because you are designing for web template design. You are doing for the web purpose, right? For digital purpose. So select the pixel unit of measurement. So here I set suppose 1024. That is the width, 1024 pixels. And height I set suppose 768. You can set any width and height. So accordingly, you set the width and height. And here the resolution you have to maintain 72 because we are designing the template for the digital purpose, for web purpose. So maintain the low resolution, standard resolution of 72 pixels per inch. So in this way, when you create a new page, you set the width in pixel, height in pixel, and resolution. This is pixel per inch. This is the resolution. And then you have another aspect that is called that is called color mode. Now let's come to color mode. Now in color mode, there are many color modes here. You'll find number of color modes. You have bitmap, grayscale, RGB, Synergie lab. Out of these, these three color modes are most important. One is grayscale, RGB, and CMYK. These 3 color modes are very, very important. Now I'll explain that one by one. So here you have RGB. Now RGB is what? This is the number 1. RGB means the color mode consisting of red. R stands for red, G stands for green, and B stands for blue colors. So one color mode is RGB, that is combination of or consisting of red, green, and blue colors. Another color mode, important color mode, that is CMYK. And CMYK stands for, C stands for can, M stands for magenta, Y stands for yellow, and K stands for black. So in black, you don't have B because B is already taken by blue. So K is black. This case, so C is can, M is magenta, Y is yellow, and K is black. So here, as you can see, in RGB, you have three colors, combination of three colors, right? And CMYK, as you can see here, combination of four colors. Now, which color mode to use? For what purpose? So just like your resolution, color mode selection will also depend for what purpose you are designing a template. Now, if you are designing the template for web, in our case, will be designed for web only. So in that case, you can maintain the color mode as at RGB. That will give a combination of three colors, R, G, and B, red, green, and blue. But if you are designing something for print media, for example, you have a photograph and you have modified the photograph in Photoshop. After modification is complete, you want to take a print of that on photographic paper. So before taking the print out, you have to change the color mode from RGB to CMYK. That is very important. Okay. So change the color mode from RGB to CMYK and then take the printout. Because if you take the printout in RGB, it will give only a three color printout. But if you take the print in CMYK color mode, it will give four color printout. One extra color will be there. So it will give a very good quality of image, the print. So remember this, when you are designing something for the web or digital, go for RGB. Maintain the color mode at RGB. But when you go for print media, when you are designing something for print media, change it to CMYK before printing. Because if you print in RGB, it will have only three colors and the result will look very bland and lifeless. So before you take the print, change the color mode to CMYK, which will give four colors, and then take the printout. So it will give a very vibrant and lively result. So for what media you're designing a certain thing. So based on the media, you have to choose the color mode. Okay. So RGB for digital media, and CMYK for print media. Okay. So these things you have to bear in mind and set the parameters. So when you're creating a page, you have to set the parameters in that particular fashion. So now at the very outset, you first decide for what purpose you are designing it. Is it for digital media or print media? If it is for digital media or web media, maintain low resolution and set the color mode at RGB. So give the weight in pixel, height in pixel, and low resolution 72 pixel per inch. That is a standard low resolution. And set the color mode at RGB. Okay. And then there is other color mode. That is the grayscale. Grayscale means when you change the color mode to grayscale, suppose right now if you want to check the color mode of this image, what do? You go to image, and image you have this mode. So this mode is the color mode. So this mode, as you can see now, right now it is selected as CMYK color. So from CMYK you can change it to RGB here. So now the color mode is RGB. And if you want grayscale, you can select grayscale. So click on this grayscale. And what will happen when you convert the color mode to grayscale, the colors will all be drained out. The different colors that you see here, all the colors will be drained out, and it will display the image in shades of gray. So it will ask here, do you want to drain out the color? Discard the color information. Discard. Now you see all the colors are drained out, and it is displaying the image in shades of gray. Normally what you call black and white. Black and white is not exactly black and white. It is gray, grayscale. So it will convert the image into grayscale if you select the grayscale color mode. So there are the different color modes. So how you change it from one color mode to another? So here under image menu, you come to mode. In mode, you will have the grayscale mode, RGB mode, CMYK mode. So from grayscale again, if you want to change to RGB, it will not change. You see, once it is converted to grayscale, it is permanent. So before changing to grayscale, you have to doubly sure that you want it in grayscale, because once you convert, you cannot go back again. You can go back. There is a way to go back. What you can do, you can undo. And for undoing, what you can do, you can hold the control button and say Z, control Z, control plus Z. That will undo the present action. So I do control Z. See, again, I get back the color. So there is a process, there is a way to do everything. Okay, but before you change to grayscale, be 100% sure that you want a grayscale. Otherwise, you have to undo again. So that way. So here what you do, you set the mode, RGB, CMYK, grayscale. Correct. So when you create the new page, you set the width in pixel. I set it as say, for example, as there is no standard size. Whatever size you require, you can use that. So I set the width as 1024 pixel. Height I set at 768 pixel. Resolution I set it as 72 because I'm designing the template for web or digital purpose. And color mode I'll set to RGB. Correct. And then background color. Background means the page color. When you're creating a new page, what will be the color of the new page? So that is called the background color. So background color you set to white and then create the page. So in this way, you create a new page. So this is a new page. This is the canvas. So you design the canvas. So this is your canvas on which you will create your design. Okay. Now, so this is how you create the page. Next important thing is the toolbox. So this is the toolbox for Photoshop. So you have, as you can see here, there are a number of tools, huge number of tools in the Photoshop. But barring a selected few, most of the tools are related to photography, because Photoshop is extensively used by photographers to edit images. Right. So most of the, barring a few tools, you'll find most of the tools are related to photography. those tools will not cover, because that is not our ultimate aim, because our ultimate aim is to design the template, and for design template, whatever tools are required, we'll learn it here. Now the first thing that we need to understand is this color box. As you can see here, there are two color boxes, one at the top and at the bottom. So this top color box is called the foreground color. As you can see here, this caption is coming, set foreground color. And the other color is set background color. So foreground and background. Now what is foreground and background color? Background color is the color of the canvas. And foreground color is the color of the shape or the design that you design on the canvas. Suppose I take a blank canvas, white canvas, and on the canvas I draw something. So what I draw, the color of that design will be foreground, and the color of the canvas will be the background. So foreground and background. So background is basically the color of the canvas, and foreground is on the canvas what you draw, the color of that particular object. That is the foreground. Now question may arise in your mind, if that is the case, my foreground color is currently this, then why am I getting white color as the background color? The reason is, when you have created the new page, you have specifically set the background content as white, as you can see here. So even if there is a different background color in the color box here in the toolbox, it will apply white color only as the background. Why? Because while creating the page, you have set the background color as white. Now, if you want a different background color, if you want this particular background color that is here in the toolbox, this color. So what you can do when creating a new page, you can change it. So instead background content, instead of white, you click on the drop down and you can set the background color. So when I select the background color, it will give the same background color that I have in the toolbox. So when you click on this and create this, now you see this background color here in the color box, in the toolbox, is matching with this color. So you have to do that. And if you choose white, then no matter whatever color is there for the background in the toolbox, it will not apply that, it will apply white only. Understood? So that's the thing. So foreground and background. Okay. Now coming to the color box. Now coming to the color box. When I open the color box, this is my color palette. And as you can see, there is a color bar over here. This is called the color bar, where you have different colors. And when I choose a particular color, suppose I click here, this is the color I've chosen, and you will get different shades of the particular color. Dark shade, light shade, different kind of shades of this particular color. When I click on this blue color, I'll get different shades of blue here. When I click on yellow here, I'll get different shades of yellow. So in this way, from the color bar, you set the color, and then here you can select which particular shade of that color you want. Correct. Now after this, you see this is the color. When I select the color, every color comes with a color code. So this is the code of the color. Every color will come with a different color code. Now you see currently this color is selected, this circle. If I select this color, the color code changes. If I select this color code again changes. If I again select this color code changes. I select this color code changes. So this color code is unique for every color, is never duplicated. So this is called the unique color code. So every color comes with its unique color code. So let's come to that now. every color comes with a unique color code. So every color will have that. And why it is called unique? Because the color will never be duplicated. Every color will come with its own color code. It is never duplicated. So that's the reason it's called unique color code. And as you can see here, there are 6 characters in the code. Always, whatever color you take, always it will have 6 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is the reason it's called hexa color code. It's called hexa. Why is it called hexa? Hexa means what? Hexa means 6. In Roman language, hexa means 6. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, pentahexa. Hexa is 6. So every color comes with 6 characters, and therefore it is called hexa color code. And at the front of this color code, as you can see here, there is a hash sign. So every color code is preceded by a hash. This is a hash sign. And this hash is called hash. This is a hash sign. So this hash sign, along with the color code, is a total color code. Now, if you leave out the hash, then it is not a valid color code. So hash is also part of the color code. Therefore, in Photoshop, we don't determine the color of a particular object in terms of color name. We don't call it blue, yellow, green, red, no. We always refer to the color of an object by the color code. What is the code of the color? So this is the code of the color. Understood? And is unique. So we don't refer to the color by the color name. We refer the color with the help of the color code. Always in Photoshop. Remember this. And in web design also we do the same. Okay. So this is the color code, consists of 6 characters and including the hash sign. So hash and 6 characters. That is the entire color code. So don't leave out the hash. Hash is also part of the color code. Okay. So this is how it is. So whether you take foreground color or background color is the same. The color code you will get from the color code that you get will be the same. You have to choose the color. What is the foreground color and what is the background color? And as I said, background color is the color of the page and foreground color is the object that you draw on the page. And if you set the background color as white when creating the page, the background color will be white, even though you have a different color as background in the toolbox. Correct? Now let's come to the different tools. So the first tool that we need to learn, the most important tool, that is called the shape tool. So this tool is a shape tool. And as you can see on the right hand side, there's a small button. That means there are more tools inside this particular tool. So when I click on this button, it will show me these are the different tools I have. So this tool is called the shape tool. And inside this, there are different shapes, tools for different shapes that I can use to draw these particular shapes. If I want to draw a rectangle, I'll select the rectangle tool. So I'll now draw a rectangle, okay? And as I said, when you draw an object, what will be the color? You'll take the foreground color, right? So when I draw this, as you can see here, it has taken the foreground color. Now, if I want to draw, say, a circle, that is called ellipse. Now, before drawing, what I can do, I can change the color again, the foreground color, Suppose I change the color to say yellow. I change this color here. The color code is also changing. And after doing that, now suppose in a rectangle, also, even in rectangle, suppose here, as you can see, when I draw the rectangle or square, the corners are very sharp corners. Now, if I want rounded corners, then what I can do with the rectangle tool itself, when I select the rectangle tool, it will open this box. And here you can set the radius. So what is radius? The radius is the roundness of the corners. So currently it is 0. So you have very sharp corners here because you don't have any roundness here, 0 roundness. And that is called the radius. Now if you increase the radius, suppose I increase the radius to 20 pixel, and then I draw. So you see the corners are now rounded. Okay. So by increasing the radius, you make the corners of the rectangle rounded. Correct. And if you don't give any radius value, then it will straight sharp corners like this. After that, you have the ellipse. Ellipse is the circle, all about circle, circle, oblongs, and all that. So select that. Now change the color again, the foreground color again. Let's change it. I take this color and I draw a circle. Now, if I want to draw a perfect circle, what I do, I'll hold down the shift button and then draw. Drag the mouse. It will draw a perfect circle. And if you don't hold down the shift button, then there will be tendency to draw either oblong or like this, egg shape or oblong shape. You draw. But if you want to draw a perfect circle, what you do? Hold the shift button and then draw. Drag it. It will draw a perfect circle. Shift. Hold down the shift button. Drag the mouse and then release it. It will draw the perfect circle. Okay. So there is a circle. Then you have triangle. Triangle again. Triangle means three-sided image. Now here also same. When you again select the triangle shape tool, here it will ask you the radius. Now if my radius is 0, now you can change the color again here. And my radius is 0, it will draw triangle with sharp corners. And if I want rounded corners of the triangle, then what I do, I'll set, first of all, I'll set the roundness, the radius, and then I draw the circle. So as you can see, it is given rounded corners for the triangle. So to have rounded corners, what you need to do, you have to set the roundness first and then draw. After drawing, you cannot change it. That's not possible in Photoshop. Okay. So this is how it is. And then your polygon. Polygon means any number of sides. Suppose you want to draw a shape with 5 sides. So when you select the polygon tool, it will ask for the number of sides here. You see the number of side boxes open now. So you set the number of sides. I set 5. You change the color again. I can change the color. And I draw the polygon, 5-sided shape. So again, if you want an 8-sided shape, change the number of sides to 8 and then draw. So after drawing, you cannot change it. Before you draw, you have to set the number of sides. Okay. And then you have the line tool. Line tool is all about lines. Vertical line, horizontal line, whatever line you want to draw, you can draw that. So when I select, I give a different color now. And when I select the line tool, you see the weight box is coming now. Weight means the thickness of the line. If I want the minimum thickness, that is called hairline thickness, I'll set it at 1 pixel. Px means pixel. I'll set it at 1 pixel and then I draw. So this is 1 pixel thickness. If I want a thicker line, so I increase the weight first and then draw. So you see it is drawing a thicker line now, right? And if you want to draw a straight line, just like a circle, what you can do, you can hold the shift button and then drag it. It will not break. It is not break. Otherwise, line will tend to break like this. But if you hold the shift button and draw, it will go straight like this. So this is the way you draw a straight line, whether horizontal line or vertical line. And then you have the custom shape tools. Custom shape tools means there are some pre-designed shapes in this, like wild animals, you have these shapes. So if you want to draw this, what I can do, I'll select this and just drag it. You don't have to do anything, just drag the mouse on the page, automatically will draw. And if you want to draw a different shape, suppose I want to draw this, I'll select that and just drag it and it will draw. So in this way, you draw the different shapes: rectangle, ellipse, triangle, polygon, line, and custom shape. Understood? Okay. Now let us see a very important aspect of designing, that is called the image type. Let's now come to the image type. Types of image. Now, in designing, you come across different types of images. Now, there are two types of images. Mainly, there are two types of images. One, bitmap image. And two, vector image. Bitmap and vector. What is bitmap image and what is vector image? Bitmap image consists of pixels. So image that are made up of pixels, that is called bitmap image. And there is another kind of image, image without pixels. So image, if the image doesn't have any pixel, that is called vector image. And if the image consists of pixels, that is called the bitmap image. So in Photoshop, we will have bitmap images, because in Photoshop, every image is made up of pixels, right? And there is another software that is called Adobe Illustrator. So in Adobe Illustrator, what you do, you design vector images without pixels. So I'll just give you an idea of the vector image here. So what you do, you open the Adobe Illustrator software. So this is the Adobe Illustrator software. So this is Adobe Illustrator. So when I create a new page, so same thing here, you have to create a new page here. So I create Here you can set it is in inches, meters, centimeters in Adobe Illustrator, but in Photoshop you cannot. So as you can see here, the unit of measurement is set is inches, or you can set it in millimeters, you can set in centimeters, pixel, you can do that. But in Photoshop, it is always pixels. Remember that. So when I do this, I create this page. So this is my page. And then if I want to draw something, what I can do, I'll draw this. So if I'll take, first of all, I have to take the color from here. So choose a particular color. Now, if I draw something in Illustrator, suppose I'm drawing something. Now, if you zoom on this particular shape, you'll find there are no pixels, as you can see here. Do you see any pixels here? No. So this is a vector image. So what you see in Photoshop is a bitmap image, just like here. You zoom in, zoom here, zoom on the image, and you see the pixels clearly. Correct. But in Illustrator, you have flat image. There are no pixels, no matter how much you zoom. See, I keep on zooming, but there is no pixel here. So these are called vector images. So bitmap images in Photoshop, and vector image without pixel in Adobe Illustrator. Correct. But Illustrator is not part of the course. So I just opened the Illustrator to show what is vector image. But Illustrator is a different course altogether. It comes in graphic designing, where you learn to design logos, catalogs, visiting cards, and all these things. But to understand what is vector image, I opened this Illustrator to explain what is vector image. That's it. But it is Adobe Illustrator is not part of your course. Now we'll be mainly concentrating on the Photoshop, which is part of the your course. So this is a zoom in, so you can see the pixels clearly, the square boxes, they are the pixels. And when you zoom out, when you see the normal size, you don't see the pixels. The pixels are there, but they're not visible to the user, to the designer. Pixels are just like, body cells, tiny body cells. So our body is made up of different cells, millions of cells. They join together and form the skin and all. So when you zoom, when you put the skin under a microscope, you can see the different cells, right? Because it is magnifying that. And if you don't put it under a microscope, you see the normal eye, you cannot see the cells. But cells are there, but you cannot see it. The same thing applies with pixel also. See, normal size, you don't see the pixels. They're so small, so tiny, you cannot see them. But when you zoom on that image, you can see the pixels. And images with pixels, those are called bitmap images, that is used in Photoshop. And the image without pixel, that is called a vector image, and that is used in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. Correct. So that is the basic idea of Photoshop. So what is pixel? What is resolution? What is color mode? What are color boxes? How to use a shape tool? And finally, what is vector image and what is bitmap image? So these things we discussed today. And tomorrow, we'll go deeper into Photoshop. It will take the other tools. So let's end it here for today. And tomorrow we'll continue with this. So bye for now. Have a great day. Thank you.